everyone. Hello. Okay. So Windows event IDs is the most important one, even interview perspective and also in log analysis. Okay. So whatever the action we are performing in the Windows system, the everything means every activity will be recorded under the Windows events. Okay. So this will be useful in our log analysis. Okay, so if you remember, while we are checking the Splunk logs in sync flood attack, we have seen some event code 5156. Okay, and next, user authentication failure. If any process created or process started, okay, and network connections. If any network connection occurred, and most important, PowerShell execution. PowerShell execution. So, for example, I am saying if any one of the event has been like even any one of the activity has been performed in our Windows machine, okay, so we'll generate the event IDs. So for each activity, we can have the different event IDs. Based on the event IDs, we can correlate the logs and we can confirm what exactly happened in the around the time of alert generation. Okay, so we have like so many Windows IDs. Let me show you. We can go to Ultimate. If any successful login you observed, you can see 4624. If any failures, 4625. Okay. Next, 4647. Initiated the log off. This is most important. 4648. I will explain one scenario also. 4648. A login was attempted using the explicit credentials. I will explain one example. We received the one incident based on this event code. Okay. So these are the event IDs we need to remember. So let me note it here, the important ones. So, or any possible credential attack. Credential attack. So, out of 10,000, we need to determine like what are the authentication failures event occurred, how many are occurred, and what are the time frame. So, from which device we can see this attacks. So, how we can filter? We can use 4625 event code. Okay, under Splunk search, you can mention index equal to star or whatever the index, and event code equal to 4625. If you mention event code equal to 4625, it will give only the alerts related to the authentication failure ones. So based on that logs, it will be easy for us to do the investigation and find out the root cause or whatever the solution based on the attack. Okay, so once we completed this firewalls and the Windows event and Sysmon logs, we can generate one more simulation where you can see these event codes practically. Okay, this is for theory part. You can remember these event codes. Later in while simulating the attacks, we can discuss more. Clear, sir? Event codes we can identify. Okay, the user has been tried to log in, but it was successful or failure. Okay, so SOC perspective, what we can check? We can get the username and source of the workstation or IP address. Source of workstation or IP address details. And next, logon type. And next, time and authentication context. Authentication context. That is 4624. So next is 4625. So what is 4625 then? Failed login.
Failed login attempt.
Failed login attempt. So from this event ID, we can see who failed the authentication. It is very useful for us the brute force attacks and password spray. Password spraying attack. We can see if we receive any brute force or any like a multiple failure attacks or password spraying attacks from the logs, we can able to see whether the user or whatever the attacker is able to log in or login failure based on these two event codes 4624 and 4625. Okay, so next is we are doing the malware alerts like EDR alerts. This will play the key role. 4688. It's a process creation. Okay, it's a very important thing. So for example, user from the user you can see command.exe and from command.exe PowerShell.exe and from here any suspicious command executed, it will generate the 4688 means process creation. Whatever the process creation, like any task has been initiated, we'll get to see the 4688 event log. Okay, here we need to identify like which process name, command line, parent process, user, time is most important, and host. Okay, so regarding these process creations and all, we can discuss in more about in the coming classes, but I will give one example. So for example, if I open one WordPad, so what it will open?
One empty page.
Whatever, what document it will open?
WordPad only.
Instead of that, if it is open PowerShell, is it a legitimate one?
No.
సార్ నేను వర్డ్ డాక్యుమెంట్ ఓపెన్ చేస్తున్నా వర్డ్ డాక్యుమెంట్ ఓపెన్ చేసి వెదర్ వాట్ ఎవర్ అది ఎంటీ ఉందో లేదా డేటా ఉందో ఫర్గెట్ అబౌట్ ఇట్ షుడ్ ఓపెన్ ఓన్లీ ద వర్డ్ డాక్యుమెంట్ బట్
Correct.
Yes.
వర్డ్ డాక్యుమెంట్ కి బదులు ఒక పవర్ షెల్ కమాండ్ కానీ లేదంటే మన కమాండ్ ప్రాంప్ట్ కానీ ఓపెన్ అయితే
Suspicious.
ఇట్ కుడ్ బి
Suspicious.
సస్పిషియస్ థింగ్ ఇది సస్పిషియస్ యాక్టివిటీ. Okay, so sometimes in phishing emails, in phishing emails, attackers can embed the macros, means malicious codes. So whenever you download the Word document and click on whatever the attachment, if you click on it, instead of open that um, the legitimate Word document, if it is calling out to any PowerShell command or any like a command prompt, it could be a suspicious one. So for example, you open Word.exe. Okay, from Word.exe, it open PowerShell.exe. Okay, here what is the parent process?
Go and click on Word document. It should open.
Parent process is Word.exe because this PowerShell is executing from the Word.exe. This is the child one. Okay, understood or no? Sir,
But why this?
Yeah, please.
Why this will happen? It won't happen. No, I mean,
It
I
will
never
happen.
heard.
It will happen. It will happen, madam. In phishing emails, you can see. In phishing emails and also in some malware alerts, you can see if you open the Word document, it will call out the PowerShell. And also, for example, if any network connection has been observed. Okay, so network connection to some ABC 4235 external host. Okay, how it will happen, this communication? So network
Yes.
connection from desktop
SSH.
7890. So forget about how it is happened, like SSH or RDP, whatever. Okay, so you can see the communication is happening from this desktop to this one through the IP address.
Okay.
Okay, through IP address it's happening. But in detail, like entire endpoint telemetry, the Sysmon logs will give you the details. So for example, 4688, what it will tell? In 4688,
Process creation.
process creation means, so for example, some PowerShell is created. Okay, but we need some additional information like a parent process from where the PowerShell has been created. And so what is the command line used to create, and process GUIDs and hash values, and if any network connections. So this information will get it from the Sysmon logs. Okay. So we have few important ones. One is Sysmon one. It's a process creation. Process creation, we can see Sysmon ID 1. So for example, binword.exe to PowerShell.exe. Okay. So we can investigate parent process, child process, command line, users, and other details, because this process is executed on the many of the attacks. Okay. In most of the phishing attacks, we can see they can attach one Word document, and from there it will execute the PowerShell commands. Okay. And next, Sysmon 3. These logs I will show you now. Network connection. Okay. So whenever like any through PowerShell commands or any through any other IP address, if you can see any network connection between internal to external, we can get it from the Sysmon IDs 3. Okay. So while doing the investigation, this will also very helpful in the Splunk logs. Whatever the telemetry, like any endpoint related in-depth investigation, we'll get it from the Sysmon logs only. Okay. So which process created these network connections? For example, I already explained from host IP to any particular IP address. It's a normal one. But instead of that, if you can see some PowerShell command and PowerShell to IP address, from IP address to 443, for example, web browser, it's a suspicious one. And next is Sysmon 11, okay? File created. Okay. So how this file will created? If any like attacker compromised our machine, he can communicate with any one of the malicious domain and he can download some file abc.exe. Okay, so they can download the one malicious file, and Sysmon will record what is that file, and from where it downloaded, and when it was downloaded, and what is the process created. And Sysmon 22. This is DNS query. So whenever we can see some DNS queries, we can see the Sysmon 22. Okay, so these are the interview Sysmon, sorry, important and interview perspective also, the Sysmon logs.